you, Chairman. So I always like to say it's tell the truth time. And regardless of how you feel about this issue, pro-life, pro-choice, the FACE Act was not enforced properly. And the fact that it could be misused, and I've met some of the people it was misused against, young women who feel strongly, and it is their right to feel strongly, they're pro-life. Prayerful, kind, nice women that were mistreated because they had a different opinion and did protest. You all that are here from Planned Parenthood, and that's a good thing, you're exercising your right, your First Amendment right to be here and to state, as you have it right in front of your T-shirts, how you believe. But what has happened here is if you have a different opinion, which is not the way America's supposed to work, then you're going to be hurt. There's going to be a much stricter level enforcement against you, and it's not even enforcement, it's worse than enforcement. So the stories they've told are true. The old woman that was almost 90 years old could have gently been just somebody, a police officer could have taken her hand and gently moved her away if she was blocking a doorway. This is an old lady. Instead, she was put in jail for years. Come on. Nobody thinks that's right. Nobody thinks that can be good. And it's interesting, if you read the stories, there are many of these stories. It just isn't one incident and one story. The truth is the act is faulty because it allowed this kind of enforcement, unequal application under the law. It allowed the law to be misused for a political force. It allowed people that really disagreed with what was happening in an abortion clinic and wanted to protest. And they do come in. By the way, somebody said, do they come into the Capitol? Yeah, there are people all over the place. I walk down the hall sometimes, they'll have people that'll corner you. You can't even move around. They're giving you their opinion. But we try to err on the side of freedom of speech, on that side. And here what we did with the FACE Act is truly misuse the law. And if you were pro-life and you had a pregnancy center, somehow you were not protected. That's the reality. And I could take you to meet some of these young ladies, some of these people that work. And they're not just cranky old people that are there, young women, some of whom had an abortion themselves and feel that we should go about things a different way. It is their right. They also should be protected. They were not protected. And there's been plenty of violence, plenty of problems at the pregnancy centers. And you know, there's nobody here that thinks you should be allowed to bomb any facility. There's nobody here that believes that somebody's free speech should be restricted. There's nobody here that believes that an assault should ever be allowed upon another human being. But there are many people here sitting here today, and I think the sponsor of this bill, who believe that the law should be enforced uniformly and fairly and evenly and without prejudice. And when it is not, and if the law allows it to not be enforced the right way, there shows there are faults with the law. So I don't know. I'm not going to give the answer whether it needs to be amended or appealed, but something's wrong. And you meet those people, you'll find out that's something wrong. And we should, and by the way, the fact that it was enforced that way, I know everybody wants to be mad at Donald Trump and wants to be mad at Chip or me or anybody that's sitting up here. The reality is, honestly, you should be mad at President Joe Biden because it was under his administration that it wasn't enforced properly, that it was enforced unevenly and with prejudice. It was wrong and it was un-American. And now we are where we are. So we don't have a bill to amend here. We have a bill to appeal. Maybe after it's appealed, if it is, then we will move forward and we will be able to do something if it's needed. There are plenty of laws in place, to be honest with you. If you are assaulting somebody, you just can't bomb a building anywhere in any state, regardless of how the issues or how the laws are pertaining to abortion. So we already have laws in place to stop any of these violent acts that everybody's speaking about here. But there's one thing I'm sure of. What's happened in the past was wrong. It was wrong for Americans, and quite frankly, it was wrong whether you were pro-life or pro-choice. It was un-American what was done. And with that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back.